I'm in conversation with Josh, Nathan, and Amber. They are three people, young people, who are very interested in the monarchy. They're part of the Monarchist League of Canada, and we want to hear whether or not you share their excitement and enthusiasm for the monarchy in light of the fact there's going to be a very big royal wedding in the next 25 days. 1-866-468-4422. We'll go first to Sherry, who's on the line in Calgary. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Donna.
Well, what do you think? Are you one of the people who is counting the moments till the nuptials?
You can bet your Pims and your cucumber sandwiches I'm counting the moments. I mean, it's been a long winter. It's dreary, and we already had a crush on William, let's face it. And along comes Kate, gorgeous, girl next door, with her dresses off the rack, and she's got a ring. I mean, it's such a beautiful distraction.
And if nothing else, it's certainly that, isn't it? I mean, it's nice to sort of have a little bit of lightheartedness after you say a very long winter.
It's true, and I'm telling you, I'm going to a wedding in May, and I'll be sitting there in my dress from Winners, right, off the rack as well, and a hat as big as all outdoors, Donna. If I have to get the lid off the garbage can and put a bow on it, I'm going to have a big royal wedding hat when I go.
And are you going to be up in the middle of the night to watch all the coverage? Yes?
Absolutely.
And you'll be drinking your Pims and having your cucumber sandwiches at the same time?
Maybe I'll toast them. I just hope they give the Queen a new hairdo, something a little more modern.
Well, no, she wouldn't be the Queen then, would she?
Is she a little more? She's had that one since the Blitz. Come on, it lived through the Blitz. A little bit something.
Sherry, thank you for the call. And Amber, I just have to get your thoughts as you listen to Sherry there. Are you with her? Does the Queen need a new hairdo?
I don't know. She's almost an icon now. It's hard to mess with what's worked for her since the Blitz.
After all, that's the image we have of her on the coins.
Yeah.
We don't want to confuse people, right? So let's go. Thank you so much for the call, Sherry. We'll go to Gabriella now, who's joining us in Calgary. Hello there, Gabriella. Are you somebody who shares the interests of our young monarchists?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm very interested in the wedding, actually, and finding about all the details.
And what in particular interests you the most?
I'd like to know who's going to be the designer for Kate's wedding dress.
I'm going to ask each of our guests if they have any insights into this. Josh or Nathan or Amber, does any one of you three have any idea who it could be?
We're not quite celebrity watchers to the same extent, and that our two callers have been. Alas, I do not know who the designer would be at this moment.
You're more serious monarchy watchers, I do get that, but I thought maybe in this particular circumstance you might throw in a guess.
I know that they've announced who the designer is, but I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but I know for sure it's not the people who designed Diana's dress. It's somebody new that was called by Buckingham Palace to design the dress, and they said yes. But obviously, we won't see that dress until she steps out of the car on April 29th.
Yeah, and just on the point about the car, I understand it is going to be a car and not a carriage. Amber?
Exactly.
Or Josh, go ahead.
Sure, it's a break from royal tradition. All past royal weddings have always gone with the carriage, and this go around they've opted to go with the car, maybe for more security concerns, those sorts of things. We don't know, but it is a break from royal tradition, because I know in the past, especially for Diana, they used a big, beautiful coach that all you could see was her white train inside of it until she stepped out, and then you saw the magnificent gown.
Do you mind the fact that they are breaking with tradition, Josh?
I don't mind. I think it's, everything has to adapt with the times, and I'm sure they may use a carriage when they're leaving Buckingham Palace or after, the reception or something like that. But, it'll still be a very elegant Rolls Royce or something like that, so it still will go along with the pomp and ceremony that still goes along with the royal wedding.
Let's go to Medicine Hat now. Blair joins us on the phone. Hello, Blair. What are your thoughts about all of this?
Well, thank you very much. I find the whole idea of a monarchy somewhat ridiculous in this day and age, with the struggles going on with many people in a struggle for equality. The idea that somebody should be afforded a certain certain statue in life because of who their parents are. I find it ridiculous. It flies in the face of everything else we're trying to achieve in this day and age. Like I say, with the battle for equality.
Blair, that's a great point you're making, and I want you to stay right there because I think Nathan, Josh, and Amber might have something to say about this. Nathan, first to you, how would you respond to Blair's point, and one that many people have raised very often?
Yes, that is something that is raised very often, and I thank you, Blair, for putting it so well there for it, because I think that's exactly what people wonder when they look at the Crown. They wonder, why is we attached to this institution that prima facie seems to defy some sort of democratic principles that we have in it. And I think the best way we look at the role of the Crown in the country, because the question is not, do we need a Governor General? Do we need a head of state for our own country? Our own system with a Westminster parliamentary system requires us to have some kind of head of state in that capacity. So the question is the head of state going to be officially one that the Prime Minister appoints, or is it going to be officially, as it currently is, the Queen of the United Kingdom? And so what does it mean then to have the Queen of the United Kingdom as our head of state? And I think what it says to Canada is it recognizes the importance of the ties, the historic ties and cultural ties that we've had toward the United Kingdom, that what we have when we recognize that tie is we recognize our own historical experience insofar as we have, to a great degree, owed the creation of our country to the contributions offered by the United Kingdom.
And I'd like to, sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
I just was going to say, and so we have those ties that drift back to the War of 1812, to Confederation, to the repatriation of the Constitution in 1982, to World War I and World War II, where we had soldiers fighting for the Crown in Europe. And we have, of course, ancestors emigrated from Great Britain in the 19th and 20th centuries. And all that process of Canada going from a colony to a nation was done to a large degree with the contribution of Britain. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that Britain is the only one contributing. And we've seen a great deal in the past decades about recognizing the importance of the contributions offered by French Canadians and by First Nations.
But I think your point, Nathan, is that if you buy into the idea that Canada's a constitutional monarchy, then you should probably support the idea of having a monarchy. And Blair, what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, I think Nathan's pointed out the historical significance of the monarchy. I'm saying that maybe this is something we need to relook at when people in line to the throne are shown in Nazi outfits, when people in line to the throne, the behavior shown by some of the younger members of the people in line to the throne has been less than stellar, let's say. Should we be spending money on something like this when we have many of our First Nations people living in poverty? Maybe this is something, maybe this is an idea who's run its course.
Okay, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts, Blair. We appreciate it. We'll go to Tony, who's on the line now in Calgary. Hi, Tony. What are your thoughts about all of this?
Hey, I'd just like to get a lady's opinion, actually, because I hear Williams isn't going to be wearing a ring.
I read that, too. Amber, What is the deal with that? Is this something that he's decided because of his military work? What do you know about that, Amber?
Apparently, the ring is just made out of negative gold, Welsh gold, and so there's not going to be a lot of it left even to make Kate's ring. They were a little bit worried, but it's just a personal preference as far as I know.
So it's because of a shortage of Welsh gold, Tony. What do you think?
I don't know. If I were Kate, I'd be pretty concerned. I would want my boyfriend to wear a ring if I were a lady.
How do you feel about that, Amber?
Well, William's so well known that it doesn't really, everybody knows that he's going to be taken. So.
I don't know. No ring, I think, is still free open market.
Oh, interesting, Tony. I'd like to speak to you now to Edmonton. Buzz joins us on the phone. Hello there, Buzz.
I'm on the phone, all right, and I'm a curmudgeonly 64-year-old Edmontonian, and I think we have to cut the umbilical cord. Once our present lovely queen, I respect Queen Elizabeth II so much, but I'm sorry, after her demise, it's time to cut the umbilical cord.
And do what, though, Buzz? What would we do?
we're going to put Wayne Gretzky on the $20 bill. The Queen is gone.
but do you? What about?
No, he lives in the United States. We have to find another Canadian who lives in Canada. It's ridiculous that we have the leader, the official head of state, who lives in a castle 2,000 miles across the sea. She's a foreigner, and this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All right.
I don't care how much it costs us or whether the Queen pays us. It's time for the monarchy to go. It may have had its place once upon a time, but things change, traditions change. It's time for her to go.
Will you read anything at all about the royal wedding, Buzz?
Oh, sure. Just because of the pageantry and it's an unusual event. Sure. I'll follow it a bit. But as far as having the monarchy in Canada, no. And like I said, I greatly respect and admire Queen Elizabeth II. She has done an admirable job as our monarch, but it's just time for the institution to go. It's outlived its usefulness.
Thank you so much for the call, Buzz. And would it be Josh, Nathan, or Amber who would like to respond to Buzz?
Well, Amber hasn't had a turn yet.
Amber, would you like to respond to Buzz?
Sure. I think the problem with society nowadays is we don't separate between the actual person versus the position that exists. And it's not the Queen herself. Sorry, I'm just getting some feedback. Yeah, it's not who she is as a person. It's the position, and I believe that's what makes Canada unique. He was mentioning she was a foreigner, but that's why we have a governor general and lieutenant governors across Canada. So I believe we're fairly represented, and I actually feel quite close to the Queen lately with her visits in 2002, 2005. With the upcoming visit this summer. I don't know. I don't feel that she's a foreigner to me.
All right, and we appreciate that point you were making, Buzz. Thanks very much. And obviously, our three guests are on the phone, and
Queen, and recognizing that as the head of state, she's made a wonderful contribution to the country, and not only personally she has, but to echo Amber, it's also the institution that has made a contribution and can make a contribution in the future.
Thank you very much for making that point. And Amber, you were talking earlier about the fact that there wasn't enough gold from that Welsh mine to create a ring for Prince William's wedding ring. Here's an email that we received from Bob in Calgary who writes, the gold for royal wedding rings has come from a mine at Ganelwood, and forgive my Welsh pronunciation, in what is now a national forest. He says, my great-grandfather was the mine captain there back during World War I. The mine ceased production years ago. So very interesting Alberta connection to the wedding rings that are being created tongue-in-cheek. He says, it isn't about the ring on the finger that everyone can see. It is about the invisible ring in the nose of every married man that every woman can see. So, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to talking to you about this again as the date gets closer, and I hope we can check in with you while you're standing along the road there watching the royal wedding in London, Amber.
Yes.
We definitely would love that. And
we all would love to be there.
Yes, I bet you would. And so thank you all. Very interesting indeed to have you with us. And I just, before we go, I have to ask each of you very, very briefly about the fact that Stephen Harper has to stay home instead of taking advantage of the fact that he got one of those embossed invitations. Amber, what do you think?
I wish he'd give me the invitation.
How about you, Josh?
Oh, I'll gladly take it, but no, I think he made the right decision.
And you, Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would personally be glad to take it. Alas, there's others more deserving, and the exigencies of politics do require him to be elsewhere.
Oh, very, very big of you all to say such a thing. Great to have you with us. We really appreciate it. That's Amber Perillo, Josh Trapto, and Nathan Pinkowski. They are all members of the Monarchist League of Canada.